Hi, my name's Hayden, and today we're going to be talking about how to approach debugging your software. And if you're not too sure what that means, there's a very common problem you might have come across. And that is that my code isn't working. If there was anyone here with me, I'd say put your hand up if you've had a situation where your code doesn't work, because it's affected nearly everyone. And this is a lesson about how to manage a situation where your code isn't working. And what I mean by that is, how do you figure it out, or more importantly, I guess, how do you break down the problem so that getting help is even easier? So what we're going to do is we're going to unpack the stages of resolution. We're essentially going to figure out how do you go about it when your code isn't working. Because you can imagine you're sitting there, you're trying to write some code, you've just done a lab or an exercise, and you run it, and the output doesn't make sense. It's not what you expect it to be. So these are the three stages of resolving a problem or resolving a bug, however you want to think about it. Firstly, you have to understand and establish what is going wrong. Then you need to understand and establish where it is going wrong in the code. And then finally, all you need to establish is why is it going wrong. Now, the thing about these three things is that the first two are actually really easy. The third one is quite hard because the third one is where you actually need to understand a lot more about computers. Knowing what goes wrong with your code is super easy because you literally just look at it. Like you're like, I ran my code, I expected it to print 3, but it printed 4. Nice and easy. Where in your code isn't as kind of quick to spot, but you don't have to be very smart to process that. And what I mean by that is a first year, second year, third year, fourth year, whatever, if you spend the time and you approach it methodically, you can nearly always find out where something is going wrong. And the third part is why it's going wrong there. So quite often you'll find some code and you'll be like, I know what's going wrong. I can tell where it's going wrong, but I don't know why. And the real reason that we're focusing on this is because if you're solving all of your own problems, you don't need to probably listen to me right now. But if you're struggling to solve your own problems, you're probably relying on someone else for help. And if you're relying on someone else for help, you might throw them your code and say, it's not working. And that's really hard for them to figure out. If it's really hard for someone to figure out, they might take a while, they might not want to help you, you'll get a response slower. So what we're going to do is help you to do these first two in particular, which is figuring out what's going wrong with your code and where it's going wrong, because then you can take that to someone and get some help. Because if they can see what's wrong and where it's going wrong, often a smart, I don't want to say a smart person, but a person who knows more than you in that particular area will be able to solve it like instantly. And this is the kind of stuff that, I've been teaching this for 10 years. I teach it to my employees. I teach it to my students, everything I possibly can. So firstly, let's take a piece of code. Now, this is a very simple frequency counter function. You've probably seen something like it before, and it's got a bug in it. You can probably spot it pretty quickly as well. Now let's imagine this function just takes in a list and it just returns me an object where the key is a particular item and the value at that key is how many times that item appears in the list. It's a frequency counter. So when we're running this code, before you ever run code, you should be thinking, what is the expected output? What do I expect this output to be? And when you do that, you probably expect the output to be this, right? An object with A, B, C, because there's 2 A's, 2 B's, and 1 C. Really simple. Now, when you actually run it, this is what happens though. You get 3, 3, and 2. That's not very good. Now, let's imagine that you're a first week student learning a language like this, and you see all this code up the top, and it just looks scary, like really scary. Like it's got these double braces and for loops, and you think, oh my God, it's looping. Looping is when everything hurts, equals 1, objects, all of this. And you're like, I don't even know where to start. I don't know what's wrong with this. But the first thing we're going to do is try and establish the what. And the what is probably the easiest part. That is what's going wrong. And you could take that and you could say, that's the output that I expect to get up on that side. And then on this side, it's like, that's the output I actually get. And the expected output appears to be 1 higher than what we want it to be. That's all that is. So the first step, what's going wrong? That's going wrong. A lot of what's going wrong can honestly just be a difference between expected and actual output. And it can be that straightforward. It's usually something you wouldn't even consider a step because it's so obvious to tell. But here's where things get interesting, and it's the where is something going wrong. Now, you'll come across people, and I come across them all the time, they'll just look at code and be like, that's the problem. Or they might use these things called debuggers, or other fancy names, and they'll install them in VS Code and some magic will happen and they'll kind of tell you that, oh, you really need to install this if you're going to figure out what's going on in your code. But the reality is, using print statements, or in the case of JavaScript, the languages in these examples, is totally fine. I use print statements all the time. I've been programming for like 1.5 decades now, and I still regularly debug nearly everything with console logs. And I've gotten to the point where I'm not going to keep thinking that I'm bad because of it. I'm just going to accept that that's a totally fine way to debug code. So we're going to be trying to isolate where something's going wrong in the code with console logs, and that's kind of where I want to give you the tips and tricks here. And this is, I think, an important thing. When you add console logs to your code, the way that people approach it generally is they think, here's a chunk of code. Let's find a risky line and let's put a console log there. But what I'd actually encourage you to do is something that I would call incrementally establishing truths, which is putting in console logs in really safe places where you don't expect anything's wrong, and then slowly working in from there. What this means is that you're essentially iteratively hunting down where stuff starts to be wrong. Because you can imagine your code, quite honestly, if there's a start and an end, and I kind of can predict what those two things are going to be like, right? Like the start is nothing and the end is the wrong stuff. So, okay, I can establish that. Then we just move in and in and in like that. And then I'll give you an example of what I mean. So first thing I'm going to do with my frequency function is I'm going to put in 2 console logs, right? I'm going to put in a console log right at the top, right after I declare the object as an empty object. And then I'm going to put one right at the bottom, right before the return. And I know what these should be. The first one should be an empty object because I console logged it right after that. And the second one should be the wrong object, which is, the 332 frequency counter. And when I go print those out, I get exactly that. And I'm like, great, so I've done that. I've established truths. And now we can kind of start working our way towards the middle here. So we're going to keep going. The next thing we're going to do is start putting things inside the for loops. So I'm going to put a console log inside the for loop here, where I console log item like that, and then item itself. Now, one really hot tip, this works in any language really, is when you console log stuff, just take the variable that you're printing and copy and paste it and put it in strings like I've done here. I didn't do that in lines 3 and 11 because I just didn't, but this is really useful because when you then see it printed out on the terminal, you'll be able to more easily reference it. Now, what I'm establishing here, right, is again, I know that like the problem is counting, and you might be thinking, what's this console log going to do? I'm just trying to establish that item is item. It's what I expect. I'm not getting into any of this stuff with maths here. I'm establishing truths. Okay, sweet. Console log, item A, item B, B, B. So it's iterating through it like I expect. Now that's nice because the area in which I'm having to focus here goes down and down and down. Still seems okay. The next one, I'm going to put even more code in. Now you'll see that I put this console log in here at the bottom. Once again, I'm printing out a string as part of the console log so that I can more easily tell what's going on in the terminal. So this is so important with loops too, because if you don't do this in loops, loops just seem like stuff flying in every different direction. So I do that, and what I start to notice now is that, I get my empty object, item A, object A is 2, object A is 3. Okay, so I can tell now that something's a bit sus, and more in particularly, they jump up too early, and the values jump up too early. So object A here, I'd expect to be 1 because, I've only just added it. And what's great is then I can go and try and remove some code to further isolate where it's going wrong. If I remove this incrementing part, I've commented it out, and I just leave 2 console logs in, I can now see that the end result, which I'd expect to be an object of 0, 0, 0 for each value counter, is now 1, 1, 1. And this is so important because now we found our problem. Now in this particular case, the where has kind of transformed into the why, right? Which is right there. But my point is, let's say you don't actually know what's going wrong here, and you're like, I think there's a problem with this part of the code. You don't know why, you've got this double parentheses, the exclamation mark in object, you're not too sure, but you know where it's going wrong. You know something is suspicious about that code that is making it behave differently. It's such a simple example. I know you probably know what's wrong with it. You probably know the why, but what I'm trying to articulate is that the where and the what is so important, because you take that to like a tutor or a friend right now and you say, this is what my code should be producing. This is what it does. Here is where things go weird. It's in this chunk here. Someone probably is able to spot it pretty quickly. And in this case, it was pretty easy. But let's take a look at another example. Now this example is really interesting, and I wanted to run through this with you because I haven't actually looked at this code before. I punched this into ChatGPT and said, give me some JavaScript that's buggy. And we're going to try and look for it together. And I'm going to act as though I'm, maybe like, again, a first week student who sees this big piece of code and there's a lot of very unknown things and we got to try and figure it out together. Maybe it's pretty easy to figure out, maybe it's not. But you can kind of tell from it that it looks like it's a piece of code that produces the median age from a list. So I have an array of objects here, and each object has a name and an age key, which is a string and a number, and it looks like it'll print the median age of those people. So let's go and get that up then. So now, all I'm going to do is just run the code because it looks pretty runnable. Let's see what it does. Now, before I run it, I've got, what are these ages? 25, 19, 32, 17, 99. 25 should be the median age there. So when I run that, I get unexpected token. On line 23, yeah, looks like ChatGPT missed a comma. No, I missed it. I added Hayden in. I lied. That's all I did. I took the code and added one more name in. But so now we've got median age equals 17 there, right? And that doesn't make sense because 17 is not the median age. 17 is the earliest age. I can leave a note for myself here that should be 17, 19, 25, 32, 99. 25 should be the median age. I've established what has gone wrong here. So that's stage one. So stage one is what, and that is got 17 instead of 25. Great. Now we're going to move on to stage two, which is where. Now we've kind of talked about this previously, which is that we're going to start putting console logs in the code. And again, establishing truths is really important. One person might kind of come here and say, I'm going to go and start printing out this here like this. Users and users, and then we know it returns some stuff. God, there's a lot of things there. Maybe I'll just start printing out middle index like this as well. And we can see what that gets us. When I do that, you can see that users are the users that I'd expect, and middle index is 2, which also kind of makes sense because math.floor is like round and round down, users.length is 2. That refers to an index. So that makes sense because you've got index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. Sure. So the 2 makes sense. If users.length is equal to 0, as in if there's an even number, then we have to kind of do something more tricky. But if there's not an even number, then we just take the middle index plus 1 is age. And I think, okay, this is all very complex. Imagine I'm like a little bit overwhelmed here. But middle index still seems to be 2. It's a little bit confusing why there's a 1 there. Maybe we'll kind of come back to that. But what I was going to explain before is you should always start from the highest levels out. And what I mean by that is if you have a look down here, we sort the users, then we pass that into median age. So we should absolutely do sorted users first because we expect it to sort the users. So I go and run that, and straight away, what do I notice? The users don't seem to be very sorted, right? Okay, I go and have a look up here, sort by age. That's the function that I'm calling. So I expect it to sort by age, but it's not very sorted. Okay, that's not good. Something's wrong here. But then I think, oh, well, I'm just a wee, first week student, and I don't know why this isn't working, but that's okay because I know what's not working, which is that I expect sorted users. So maybe we can go and change this a little bit, just briefly, focus on a couple of problems. Stage 1, the what? Sorted users should be sorted, but it's not. Stage 2, where? Well, I know exactly where because I call this sort by age function. So I can literally just say lines 1 to 5. 1 to 3, sorry. I know lines 1 to 3 is where it's going wrong. Stage 3, why? Don't know. I've never seen sort before, so I'll talk to a tutor or friend or something. And they should be able to help me out and tell me why that's not behaving. So, done. That part's done. Now, in reality, I'll point out that there's a bug here where that should be b.age, so that's just bad code. When I run it again, they should be sorted there. Cool, and that looks good. Obviously, we wouldn't expect you to know that. Maybe that's something a tutor would have helped you with. But now we'll try and run the code, and you see that the median age is still wrong again. We expect it to be 32. So this is when we would go and do what we were doing before, where we would start putting console logs throughout our code, like you saw at the start. And up here, that means I would start saying, I got to console log my users to establish it. Yep. I'm going to console log that it's not 0 to see if it's still going. I'll console log my middle index, this, And I'll start from there, I think. And then I might, just so I can track the code, I might say path 1 and path 2, right? Because now we can more easily see what's going on. So if I hit, I'm gonna run this code now, clear that out, and then run debug 2.1, and I can see that sorted users look sorted. It looks like I'm also getting that data in. I go through not 0, middle index is 2, path 2, but the median age is 32. Now in this case, I am actually familiar with this code, so I should be able to go, that looks interesting. I feel like middle index in this scenario might not need to be +1 because the 2 seems to be right here. And that kind of makes sense. So now when I run that, I get median age is 25, starts to work. Let's try with an even example now. So in this case, the median age should be the in-between of the 2, right? That's kind of how median's being defined in this scenario. So if we go 17, 19, 25, and 32, it should be the average of 19 and 25, which is about 22, right? So now I run that code, and the median age is 22, which also seems about right. So we feel like we've gotten there now, which is pretty important. But the point is, that was how we systematically debugged that program. The second thing we did where we tried to figure out the middle index, we were equipped to deal with that. So the what, where, and why worked pretty well. But in the first case, the what, where, and why, we could only do the what and the where parts. The why part was harder because it was really unfamiliar code. But when we showed it to a tutor or a friend, they could figure it out nearly instantly. And that's so, so important. But before we wrap up, one thing I would like to show you is that if we actually go and get our old code here, the running, the kind of frequency counter, because of the advent of what's been happening with AI and the other, generative models, you can actually just go and punch these things into something like ChatGPT a lot of the time and say, help me debug my code. It's not returning what I expect, or something like this, and this is going to evolve far more rapidly than I could keep up and explain. But it's like here, you'll see it seems like the issue lies in that line when you're initializing the object, incrementing it by 1. To fix this, you should increment the count, blah, blah, blah. And you'll see it's actually already fixed that line for you. Now, this doesn't actually always work. ChatGPT is, not guaranteed to spot the problem. We're not at the point yet where it can probably identify things as clearly as a human in more complicated use cases, particularly where domain knowledge is quite specific. But you know what? If you don't have a friend or a tutor around, in a pinch, it's going to make your life a hell of a lot easier to figure out exactly what's wrong with your code. So let's go back and wrap up. So if we go back to the slides, our last little summary element here, don't worry about the code there. 3 things I want to leave you with. Firstly, print strings with your console logs to better track things. You saw that whenever I would put a variable and then a string in front of it so I could see it on the terminal. Use console logs to debug, but start by establishing truths, not searching for errors. People love to just throw print statements in random places, but systematically work through it. It's a little bit like, narrowing down a search, or have you ever kind of looked for something in your room and you go fully through a drawer and you establish that and you move slowly? It might feel slower at first, but it's much calmer and it's much more certain to give you the outcome you want. And finally, what and where are most of the battle? And you can all do it. That's the best part, because it's just console logging. Like, you don't need to actually know everything about a language. All you're doing is console logging and being like, that is what I expect it to be here. And at some point, you'll figure out where things are going weird, and you can take that to someone else for help if you can't figure it out yourself. It's so good. I do that all the time. Like, there are so many technologies that I'll deal with, or languages or problems, and I have no idea what's going wrong. But when I take it to someone who's so much smarter than me and knows this stuff, I want to be able to go, hey, friend, I thought this would do that, but it actually did this, and I figured out this is the part of the code where it's not really, where it all seems to get unstuck. Can you help me out? And everyone is so much happier. And I guess finally, a fourth unspoken point, obviously testing your code helps uncover a lot of these problems. But in reality, I know testing isn't always something you can do every single time. So this guide is more here for, when you actually just have to debug it yourself and figure things out. But hopefully that was helpful. Feedback and thoughts are always welcome. Thank you.